What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope everyone is just doing well and pumped for a review of Polaris's new album, The Death of Me. So the Aussie boys are back with their second full length and ready to leave a mark on the metalcore scene with their new album. And there is a lot of hype for this band slash album, and after releasing the Mortal Coil 3 years ago, can they really deliver on that hype? Or is the band kind of just overhyped? Well, I spun the album a few times. It's been probably 5 days of listening to this album, and I'm going to give you my straight up honest thoughts on whether or not this album delivers or if it's just overhyped. So I feel like that's enough chit chat. Let's effing do it and let's get on with the album review.
A river flows inside. We drain ourselves.
The album begins with Pray for Rain, which already is a lot different from their previous album opener, Lucid. Gone are the frantic guitars and drums, and it's replaced now with melancholic kind of vocals, very passionate from Jamie, with clean ambient kind of guitars, only to bleed to like an onslaught of just riffs and grooves from the rhythm, and this badass Architects style kind of riffage where it just hits an open note right at the same time as the snare, and it just demands for you to headbang.
Get away from me!
This melancholic, passionate intro that leads into this verse of fiery riffs bleeds into the chorus, which is familiar territory if you're a Polaris fan, with clean hooks and melodies that just makes you want to sing along. And if there's one thing to love about Polaris, is that they can totally blow your expectations out of the water when it comes to their breakdowns. Each breakdown feels uniquely different in terms of rhythm and vibe. Pray for Rain gives you no time to wait for this breakdown with a tempo change that kicks things in high gear, and a personal favorite line from Jamie screaming, "And how my blood remains on the tip of the blade as it severs the flesh from the bone," stupid fast and makes the breakdown that much more satisfying. Pray for Rain is a fantastic song that is just such a good opener, and if you're a fan of the Mortal Coil, then there's a lot to love in Pray for Rain. This song leads into a personal favorite of mine, Hypermania. You can watch my reaction on the link above. An absolutely frantic, energetic song that is shooting off on all cylinders with guitar riffage that's using chord progressions with the odd dissonance that just gives it such a good classic hardcore feel. And if you're a fan of like Every Time I Die or Underoath, there's a lot to love on this track. Hypermania is essentially just a badass 2-minute track that's all killer, no filler, and this song just demands for a heavy mosh pit for kids to get destroyed. Hypermania is definitely one of the strongest and heaviest songs on the album, but if you think that this is as heavy as they'll get, then they give you songs like Landmines, which gives you good old-fashioned blast beats. Landmine is such a beast of a track, not just because of its heaviness, but Polaris' ability to change up a typical song structure. You know, in this channel, I often criticize it, but when bands follow a verse, chorus, breakdown, chorus structure, I get very bored of that metalcore sound. And here's a band with Polaris doing a verse, second verse, second new chorus with a breakdown, last chorus, and another breakdown. It totally just throws you off, and I said this in my reaction video, but this is absolutely what I love about Polaris, and there are ways to change up the structure of the song but still make it repetitive and catchy that you know the parts well enough that you can sing along or head bop to whatever is the upcoming breakdown, but it's still familiar, yet it keeps you on your toes, which is very good songwriting in my opinion. Their ability to change up the formula and take risks truly sets them apart. Landmine is just a catchy and heavy song that gets you to chant "hey" and pump your fists, but still be familiar with its structure. And as heavy as Polaris can go, they like to show off their melodic side and even pop punk side, and giving off their best like Story of the Year impersonation with songs like Masochist. what? Guess what? This pop punk kind of style actually really works out for them. Imagine a band like August Burns Red adding these kind of pop punk vocals. They can't do it. So it's Polaris' ability to bring in all these kind of genres of music in the scene, incorporate it into their music and make it work. The pop punk just feels so well placed because they already had so many sing-along moments from the Mortal Coil and also from Pray for Rain earlier on the album. So it's kind of expected, and it's a much appreciated change of pace for the overall album. Seriously, their ability to blend aggression and catchy melody is what so many strive to achieve in the metalcore scene, but here it almost feels natural. Now this is just an assumption, but this is what I can feel, but I feel like this band is collaborating together a lot more than other bands, and it helps that this band knows each other mostly from high school, and when bands are familiar with one another and they work with one another, their music is a lot more cohesive and a lot more collaborative. When you get bands from different countries or different cities and they're all sending parts over email, etc., over Dropbox, it just isn't the same as putting all their minds together in one room. And you can really feel it on this album that this band collaborates and writes well-written songs together, and every member has a moment to shine, which is another thing. Not one member is shining all the time. It's literally Polaris is a 5-piece band where all members get to shine. And this contrast between these melodic cleans to these harsh vocals are even more apparent in songs like Above My Head. Above My Head again shows that the band can blend catchy melody with upbeat grooves that doesn't just demand you to headbang, but to sing along to their passionate choruses. Songs like this are kind of hard to put into words, but when you listen to it, you can feel the passion in the chorus, especially in the last chorus when it bleeds into that clean guitar, and it just gives you the feels. And this album can straight up give you the feels, and speaking of feels, let's talk about MARTYR. So the riffs and frantic drums from songs like Landmine and Hypermania are taking a back step here to give more stripped down feel to allow the vocals to shine, and oh how they shine. Now if there's one thing that's definitely improved from the Mortal Coil is the vocals. So Jamie's vocals have never sounded so good. His ability to bring in cleans as well as harsh vocals have improved vastly. Songs like this are almost just as intense as Hypermania, but in a different way. This song is a lot more emotional and passionate, where Hypermania is a lot more intense in its aggression. Now MARTYR feels a lot different for Polaris' discography, but they do it so well again, adding variety, and in the grand scheme of things, this song fits really well because of their ability to blend in aggression and beautiful melody. Now their ability to blend in these different elements shows how versatile they are, and speaking of versatility, we gotta talk about Vagabond. Vagabond is considered the dad rock song of the CD, and if this is considered dad rock, then I'm old. I'll admit some of the riffs do feel inspired of early 2000s music with some guitar work and a post-hardcore sounding breakdown. And let's not forget a classic rock kind of sounding solo that just can make any old man rock in his rocking chair. And this song can appeal to the kids as well as old guys like me. So Polaris is bringing a lot of versatility to this album, but they definitely do wear their influences on their sleeve. And I've already brought up Architects and Pray for Rain, but even in Creatures of Habit, there's a definite Architects influence. There's a chorus with a beautiful guitar melody that almost sounds a little too reminiscent to Gravity by Architects. Now Polaris does bring in all these ideas that they've heard in other bands, but it's their way to bring all these ideas together to make a well-written, well-rounded song. And speaking of their influences, you can even hear songs like All of This Is Fleeting. Kind of sounds like a Fall of Troy FCP remix kind of intro with that clean guitar with enough echo. Also kind of has Underoath inspired pre-chorus that I couldn't help to notice when listening to this track. Now this could be the same for the final track on the album, The Descent, where it sounds a lot similar to Oh Sleeper's The Finisher, which also is their last song on their album, Son of the Morning. However, it doesn't take away that they're both great tracks, and this is especially true for the last song on the album, The Descent. This song is just a relentless closer full of aggression, catchy choruses, dark ambient guitar leads, chuggy riffs, frantic guitar riffs that switch between like harmonics and quick note runs. Polaris The Death of Me is an extremely consistent record that does not get dull, does not have any tricks up their sleeve. It's just a solid album from start to finish. It's an album full of great guitar work, solid drumming, enough bass lines where you can actually hear the bass, and a metalcore album which is very nice to hear, and very passionate vocals. Now to answer the question from the beginning, is Polaris overhyped? Well, if you're a fan of the Mortal Coil, then definitely not. This album absolutely delivers with another solid effort from Polaris. Now, if you're new to Polaris and you're wondering if this band is overhyped, well, to answer that, yes and no. Polaris isn't really doing anything innovative or completely original here, but you cannot deny the amount of sheer talent in what they can do behind their instruments, but at their ability to write cohesive, well-written, well-rounded songs. The sheer talent of drummer Daniel, the bassist Jake, guitarists Ryan and Rick, and the vocalist Jamie is absolutely incredible. These 5 guys have totally outdone themselves by making a solid effort and making Australia proud, and even me myself as a Canadian, I thoroughly enjoyed this album, and it's one of the better metalcore releases that I've heard in a while. And for my number, I give it an 8 out of 10. Polaris The Death of Me is an absolutely solid album with no hiccups or lulls. It doesn't get boring. It's straight from the get-go, has you hooked, and doesn't let go. This album's not breaking any territory. It's not completely original, and they definitely do wear their influences on their sleeve, but it's their ability to write well-rounded, just solid, fun songs with fun hooks, beautiful, passionate vocals that really sets them apart from the scene. So if you're a fan of the Mortal Coil, there's a lot to love on this album, with massive, interesting breakdowns, beautiful guitar solos, and soaring, catchy choruses. It's exactly what you would want from a Polaris album, and they delivered. But I'm curious, what did you guys think of the album? Did you like it as much as me, or did you like it less, or did you like it more? I want to know, so comment down below, spice up my life. I want to hear your thoughts on this album. And keep in mind, an 8 out of 10 is still a good number. It's like a 4 out of 5 stars, so an 8 out of 10 means it's still a solid release. But again, comment down below because I want to hear your thoughts. But other than that, thank you for tuning in. Till next time. Peace.